Hi, everyone. Today's Wednesday, April the 24th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and we're going to start looking at the ES today. Let's take a look at how our levels behaved and what we should or maybe should not have been doing. So yesterday, we came out of the gate. You can't really see the time because the marker's not on there, but this is the pre-market session. And this is where I put the video out. And then the market began here. Now notice this. We had in the pre-market at about 6:30 the test of this 50.63. What did it do? In two 30-minute candles, it closed above and then retested. That is a retest of a breakout formation, and it signals a buy zone. Then what did it do? It accelerated and walked straight through, but did the same thing. Notice, here was the next level we had, 50.78. It broke through it, came back and retested it, old resistance, new support. Okay, so when you're looking at these levels, in order to get on the right side of the trend and not overtrade, you look at what are the slopes of the moving averages, right? You know, we've got a big one here. What is that? Expand this. We have a 30 and we have an 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate the 8 and I am going to change that 30 into a 14, and we're going to make it nice and easy. One moving average to look at besides the VWAP. VWAP, super important, but then just one moving average. So all the moving average tells you is what's the direction of trend. If the direction of trend is up, you buy the pullbacks. If the direction of trend is flat and you're a momentum trader, you don't want to do anything. And that's what we're looking at this morning. But the levels that we put up by 10:30, take a look, a big sideways box. Remember, I talked to you about Nick Dolby's strategy, and he has this range-based strategy in the direction of trend. You trade the top to the bottom to the top to the bottom, until it stops hitting the bottom or it breaks out of the top, okay? And notice this new line came into play. And so I'm going to borrow one of the lines from down here, and I'm going to bring it up here, right? Old resistance, new support. And what we have is old resistance, new support, move into and up into the overnight. Here's the next level I had. What did it do? Broke above it, came back to test it, broke above it again, but then failed. How do you know something like this is potentially a problem? It stops making new highs. So if you say to yourself, okay, direction of trend is up, it broke through a level, I'm going to wait for the test of that level and watch for the breakout. I'm going to take the test and watch and anticipate it moves out. Notice, if you do a scalp trade, great. But if it loses this level, you know that it's failed its breakout and it's come into that moving average. You've got to wait for it to move up again on the other side of that moving average and stay above that VWAP, or you're going to move down into the lower volatility bands. Okay, so today I ignored what the volatility bands were showing us. I just wanted you to see how price behaved at the levels. Okay, now let's zoom through the charts. We know what's going on for the ES. My thought is that we are likely to stall out up in this region based on what the daily candlesticks are showing us, okay? But all the levels I drew are still very intact for the day. I'll put a new snapshot out a little bit later. I'm going to collapse this drawing set. Okay, let's take a look at the NQ. This one behaved exactly the same way, right? Up above, closed below, and then held the range. So this line, we're going to slip down because the real test and retest occurred at 17,420. So that line was a little bit off. Okay, next retest, here we go. That line was perfect. This line, we've broken out. This is the anchor point of yesterday's VWAP. So I'm going to float this line down just a little bit, and then I'm going to put one of the little, oh son of a gun, I can't do it like that. Let me see. I'm going to put a little one. I'm going to put it here and then expand and see where it needs to go. Okay. This line needs to be here because it's a sloshy zone. Okay? So it's about 40 points wide. Now what are we doing? Sitting sideways. I know somebody reported yesterday, but I'm with my family down here, my mother particularly, who's on the downside of life, as it were, sloping through that area. And so I was totally out of the loop. I'll have to look at it later. Here's what we're seeing. Sideways pressure event. What we could have is another line. Let's clone this one. Very, very fine. We could have another line suggesting some kind of breakout in the grand scheme of things. All right, and that might be, let's change the properties of this. Wow, is this video going to be long? I'll try to hurry it up. Oh my goodness, my southern accent just fell right out there. Okay, then we have this 725, old resistance, new support, can't make it higher, and then over 47, it'll get to 74, and then 875. But now you know what these look like. Trend is sideways in the morning. Volatility bands are telling us we are caught in a box. And you can use Nick Dolby from Top Step TV. This kind of range box is the same thing you would look at, right? You could trade the top of the range, short, cover it at the bottom. Your risk is very small, and your return is usually excellent if you're trading in the overall direction of trend, and very good otherwise, right? So overall direction of trend would mean you want to buy the pullback into the formation. Okay? All right. Now, let's get to the YM. YM, marching to the beat of its own drum largely, right? It's doing fairly well. It's got solid uptrend. Here's yesterday's formation. Very muddy. This line in the sand really, wow, it's way down here in the pre-market action, right? Because we want to look for the clean area that we had a breakout and then a retest. So here was a breakout, second volatility band, comes back, retest, off to the races. The next time there's a clean break, these wicks disturb these clean breaks very aggressively, but what it is doing is holding the moving average. So the next time there's a clean break, it's actually here, right? So I'm going to clone this one. I'm going to look for the clean break, and wouldn't you know it, it is yesterday's VWAP end. So this one came right down into, that's very nice. So that just tested just a little bit ago. We do have some news coming out at 8:30. I have no idea what it is. Not on the ball very well here today. Okay, so this line is also perfect. Breaks out, comes back to test, gets higher, but then breaks down, right? And you'll notice this is where the secondary element of your study is. If it's moving up and making a higher high, but is not testing these higher volatility bands and moving away from those higher volatility bands, you know that momentum is slowing down. That is exactly what is happening. The line above that is 38,932. So this chart is definitely crawling the wall of worry. Let's take a look at SPY. SPY did really, really well. Let's see how our levels did. We had a fair bit of them, right? This one, the 501.38, ended up being, could be, no, that one was fine. 501, why did that disappear? My brain, sorry. Yeah, this one worked fine. It broke out, came back. If we want to look at where the candle opens up for the retest, I think it's right at 503. This is the next line that we have, 506. What is the chart doing right now? Well, Yesterday's volatility is right here. The VWAP close, excuse me, the VWAP close there for yesterday's right here. This this is not showing today's information. Not sure why, but whatever. So here we are looking at this zone. 506.50 is next. 508.68, and then we probably need to use, let me clone this one and put ourselves a zone right here. And of course we have a lot of levels here for intraday trading, but we do notice this. Our price action, take a look, when the line is good, it'll take a break, pull back, hold, and make a higher high. So if you go, hey, I'm taking this break, and instead of 501.65, maybe that number is actually 501.43. Again, we know what the approximate number is. It's how the traders behave that will shift that number around. And so this tested, failed, or closed, and then the next one tested above, pulled back. This would have given us the breakout area. One candle higher into some prior days VWAP lines, and then a collapse. When it collapses, if you're getting it right at the open, when it collapses, the risk is small. If you're scalping, you'll be able to tell on a 5 or 15-minute chart that this is going to rotate over. All right? So there's what we have for SPY. We see those levels. We know them. We know the market is in some kind of rotation. Finally, we'll take a look at the Qs. Let's see how the levels worked for yesterday. Really, really well, right? Broke out of this area, just kept running. Okay, so just absolutely kept running. Now, this is sometimes something that happens on a 30-minute formation when the market opens up and it's clear sales ahead, and that is what happened at this 9:30 candlestick here. But you could also see here at the breakout, here's old support. So you look to the left. Let's say it's in a breakaway formation. You look to the left and you go, wait a second, I'm going to look right here. And if I hold this floor, it means the traders that were taking a trade long here are still engaged and they're moving back up to the upside. All right, so a few tight levels in here. I would say I'm going to remove this one because of the potential to fill in that gap at 420, right? Instead of it being 421. I should have just moved it down. There is the gap open at 420.66. That's going to be a zone that says, all right, if I don't make it, I'm probably headed to this VWAP action. All right, that's it for me, folks. A little bit of a deeper analysis on the day. And I wanted to do that because I put the levels up, but I'm not sure we are reacting with the levels the way that we need to think through that. All right, all the best, and I'll see you on the platforms. Remember, it is Wednesday, so we've got a midday Zoom for all you Benzinga Pro traders. I'll see you then.